Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this week's edition of Safe Live. Welcome, everybody. Very excited to introduce Dr. Greg Vecchi today. Dr. Vecchi is our new director of training at SafeDefend. Greg, welcome.
Thanks, Phil. Appreciate you having me on.
You bet, brother. Hey, Greg, Jeff and I, Jeff Green, the founder of SafeDefend, we've been teasing this for a couple of weeks. So we're excited to have you on here to be able to introduce you to the folks, and really thought today would just be good to kind of give you an opportunity to say hello to everybody and introduce yourself and talk about some of the direction you see SafeDefend going.
Sure, happy to do so, Phil. My name is Greg Vecchi, and actually been on board here for about a week or so, and so just trying to kind of figure things out. But I really love the product. I'm very excited to be here as a training director. I guess a little bit about my background. I guess the thing that matters for this job and for SafeDefend is I was a retired FBI agent, but I was in charge of the behavioral science unit for a number of years, and I focused on targeted violence. And it's really not only my passion in terms of research and training, but I also do consultations on it. And so I'm trying to bring that knowledge and background, and also my network and connections, of course, to SafeDefend to build and impact their training programs.
Now, Greg, you spent a little bit of time just talking about kind of your, unfortunately, obviously, there's shootings every week. And it's an epidemic, across the world. It's not just a United States problem, but it's all over the world. But, specifically with schools, this can be kind of a high level direction or overview that you see. What's important? What should we be talking about? Because we always talk about after actions, right? We always talk about after.
Right.
What can we do? What can we do to be proactive to do, to make our schools safer and protect our children and our teachers?
Well, you totally hit on it. It's all about being proactive, and that's the problem, right? And even when people are proactive on this, we always hear the terms about, connecting the dots, right? Didn't connect the dots. And after every shooting, every event, there's always, oh, we missed this, we missed that. And there's all the after action stuff that they do. For me, it's not just about connecting the dots, it's about connecting the right dots, in the first place. Because if you don't have the right dots and you're connecting them, you're going to go in the wrong direction. That's the bottom line. So first and foremost, everybody always talks about prevention, but that really is my passion, and that's my research and all the stuff I've done in my career in the FBI and behavioral science unit as a professor, and also in all my consultations, expert witness stuff, is all about getting in front of the problem if possible. Now, we obviously can't stop all active killer events,
right?
And so there's always going to be things that slip through. So you've got to have that response capability, and of course, that's what one of the strongest aspects that SafeDefend is being able to pull together so far. What I want to do is get on the front end and help our clients and our customers and things like this learn some ideas to really collect the right dots, so to speak. Okay, I always speak of left and right of bang, and this comes from the Marine Corps, actually, their Combat Hunter program, where they look at a crisis. And it could be a shooting, active killer event, right? It could be a bombing. It could be a number of things. That's considered bang, right? So you imagine you got bang. And then to the right of bang is after it happens, right? That's your response, okay? Most people focus on that because obviously when these things happen, they're terrible, and you got to respond to it, right? So you got to have a good response. I like to focus and think of being focused on left of bang, not forgetting right of bang, but staying on left of bang to look for prevention approaches and things like that. And so for me, it's about collecting the right dots. And what do I mean by that? Well, first off, one of the perennial problems that we have in threat assessment and getting in front of this problem is the fact that there is and I'm going to talk about this in future conversations with you. I'm not going to get into it, but there is
Yeah.
there's a pathway to violence, and I'm sure that most listeners have heard about that. But there's a very specific steps that a kid that's bullying, or someone, a workplace employee, something like this, gets on when they're making the decision that violence is the answer, and then they go through specific pathway to get there. Okay, we all know that, or that's out there. What I want to focus on, and what my research and my consultations focus on, and the training, is going to be, how do we actually know when they're on that path, so we don't get false negatives, right? Okay, or false positives, right? And that's one of the keys to collecting the right dots, is first and foremost knowing they're actually on the pathway, because we don't want to end up crying wolf, right? And we see this all the time. We also don't want to be so conservative that we don't act, right? So that's number one. The second thing that I would say, and then I'm going to stop, okay, is that not only do you got to know that you're on the pathway, okay, you've also got to be able to understand what the concerning behaviors mean and which ones are relevant or more relevant than others. And I like to break that down by looking at direct behaviors and indirect behaviors. And I think one of the other problems out there is that people mix direct and indirect behaviors. Okay, what do I mean by that? Well, direct behaviors are things that relate directly to intent, like leakage, right? A kid is bullied, and he says to his peer, his fellow student, he says, I'm going to kill Mr. Smith, right? Or I'm going to kill Johnny, or whatever. Maybe
Right.
Mr. Smith didn't do anything about the bullying, so he's mad at him. He's got a grievance, right? It's all about the grievance, right? Or I'm going to kill Billy the bully, right? That's a direct behavior, right? And the direct behavior meaning you can read it, you can see it, you can hear it, right? You're detecting a behavior. That's what you need to focus on, is things like that, not on whether or not the person of concern or the student has mental illness, right? Or has a lot of stress at home, or was abused as a child, or trauma. Those are indirect. Now, it doesn't mean they're not important. Certainly for risk, it would be important for risk, but not for a threat assessment. And that's one of the distinctions I like to make, because you got to focus on the direct behaviors in order to, again, collect the right dots so you can connect them, right? And so that's kind of my initial thoughts on answering your question.
Well, I think, and one thing that obviously we're excited about is your real world experience and just decades of addressing these issues on not just a tactical basis, but really getting into the why and the how, and I think by being proactive, it gives our site principals, our central administration, our classroom teachers, it for lack of a better word, arms them with great knowledge, information, and training that can allow them to, as you said, mitigate these actions as much as possible. Unfortunately, like you said, we can't stop every one of them, but boy, we can sure, I think, have a real impact on those ever getting to that point.
Yeah, I'm a totally believer in that, Phil. You're absolutely
yeah, 100%. So, well, Doc, I'm going to keep it short today for you. I know, we're very we're casually professional on our SafeDefend Live Facebooks, and I think one of the big things that that matters to me the most is that folks know how to get a hold of you. I know you're a wealth of information. Would you mind sharing your SafeDefend email, and with anybody that has any questions, they can reach out direct to you?
It's very easy. It's Greg.Vecchi. It's Greg, Greg Vecchi, my last name. It's V like Victor, ECCHI @safedefend.com.
Well, I appreciate it, Doc. And I'll tell you guys, you'll see Dr. Vecchi at a lot of conferences. He's always available to help you any way he can if you have quick questions. If you want to set up a time to do a Zoom or have a face-to-face meeting with Dr. Vecchi, talk about how we can help with your training, your development, get that staff ready, do that left of bang activities, which are so critical to ensure that we have great outcomes, or as good of an outcome as you can have if that situation does arise. But hopefully we can do some great things to prevent us from getting there. So Dr. Vecchi, I appreciate you. thank all of you for joining us. If you have any questions, again, reach out. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye. Thank you.